Soon I discovered that this rock thing was true. Jerry Lee Lewis was the devil. Jesus was an architect previous to his career as a prophet. All of a sudden, I found myself in love with the world, so there was only one thing that I could do, was ding-a-ding-dang, my dang-along-ling-long.
Thank you, snowboarding.
Thank you, snowboarding.
Hey friends, how you doing out there? I hope your Christmas was entirely enjoyable and you're full of festive cheer. My name is Chris Cracknell. You are listening to Thank You Snowboarding, the podcast celebrating UK snowboarding culture. And we do this with the kind support of our friends at the Snowboard Asylum, who have been looking after snowboarders for the last 35 years and continue to do so. So how are you? How was your Christmas day? I hope you are sat feeling loved and full of nice food and good laughs with your family and friends. If that is not where you are at, then I'm sending you peace and love anyway. I hope you find some respite in this festive period. So yeah, I'm recording this a couple of days before Christmas actually. All is well in our household, and I've just listened back to this episode because we recorded it a little while ago. This episode is with the legend that is Simon Smith. And to all you old school snowboarders out there, probably Simon Bloody Smith doesn't need any introduction. He was on the covers and in the pages of all the early snowboard magazines, blazed a trail with a unique style, a certain level of aggression, and just made snowboarding look badass. I think that's all there is to say about it. And yeah, I was really pleased when he said he wanted to do this. I think a few people had said that he might not fancy it, but he turned up correct, and we had a really, really fun chat about snowboarding. And I didn't know Simon that well, really. Our paths have crossed a few times, but you know, I never really knew his story, so it was really interesting just to dig in and chat about snowboarding with someone that I really admire. He certainly, to me, when I first came across snowboarding, he was one of the trailblazers, and part of his aesthetic, and I do get into this, I get a bit gushing towards the end, to be fair. It was sort of his aesthetic and the way he made snowboarding look that made me want to go snowboarding. The fact that he skated and BMX'd as well, I was like, I am all in. Where do I sign up? So yeah, I was really happy to get on a Zoom call with Simon. I think it was back in September. And I thought I'd hold this one back just as a little Christmas treat. I haven't promoted it too much or told many people that we did this. So, but Simon's interview has been one of the most requested out of everyone we've had on so far. Everybody's sort of saying, when you get Simon Smith on. So I thought I would give you a little Christmas treat. So yeah, let's get straight into it. This is the man, Simon Smith. You haven't aged a day.
You lying bastard.
No, you look good, man.
Getting there.
How's life treating you?
Busy. Busy with work.
Are you like carpentry? Is that your thing?
Pretty much. It's just bespoke stuff. Making furniture out of reclaimed shit and knocking shit out of houses and putting them back together.
Nice. And where are you?
Back in Yorkshire, in Ponty, my hometown.
Oh, Ponte Carlo.
Yeah. Probably not far away from where I grew up and where Danny was living. So.
No, well, funnily enough, we'll get to that because we can get to that now if you like. When me and Jez drove up to Aviemore,
he's back on that.
On the way back, Jez took us on like what felt like a kind of history road trip of the north.
Yeah, you can do that.
And we went past your old street, I think, where you and Danny used to hang out or whatever it is you used to do.
Well, yeah, Daddy was on bottom. I was on Springfield Avenue. Daddy was on Northfield Drive, I think he was.
Right.
He was only a young kid then. Oh, my God, he was very young.
Yeah, I bet he must have been.
But I do remember Danny. I remember him when he was there because I used to make loads of shitty ramps in the garden, and he used to want to try and play them. And I remember bringing it out, and I was on the street.
Yeah.
And I brought one of these ramps out, and I've not even used it yet. I had a proper little whip to it. And Danny on his budgie just came flying down the road and hit it. And just like Danny, he got so much air. I mean, and landed on his bollocks on his crossbar and stuff, went straight down to the road to his mum's. And I got a bollocking off his mother.
Well, see, I never knew that yours and Danny's story kind of intertwined like that. I was, I knew I was sort of aware what you did. And then when sort of Danny came along, but I never knew that you two had sort of shared a bit of history.
Well, we knew each other. I mean, he left pretty soon after that time.
Yeah.
But then he did go on to think of going up to Aviemore for one of the first snowboard camps.
Yeah.
And I was there for that as well, because it was very weird. I was in the shop with Tony Brown.
Yeah.
And in walks Danny and in walks his mum. I just went, fucking hell, no way. We'd meet all this time later. But yeah.
So, okay then. So let's go right back then. What were you doing when snowboarding came along? I'm guessing were you like a pro skater or BMXer? But you're certainly doing both to a pretty reasonable standard, weren't you?
I was skating back then. I lost interest with the BMX. I was quite high up with the BMX. I was like, 16, but I went into masterclass.
Right.
The BMX, and with I think I did 1 year and I didn't like it. The comps weren't good. Yeah. So, and I think a lot of bikers went into the skating scene, so I just went into that. I did all right at that, but that was just purely a hobby.
I mean, what did that look like at the time? What sort of year are we talking?
BMX, I think I got on front cover of BMX Action Bike.
Right.
In 1985.
Is that sort of Andy Ruffle kind of era?
It is, yes.
Okay.
I actually dug out a cheque from Andy Ruffle.
He came to our local sports centre and did a bunny hop over about 12 kids. And that was like, woo, BMX, look at that. That's so awesome.
I got a cheque off him from the first hole shot competition.
Right.
About 2.5 years after the competition for 15 quid. With just a message saying, it's been a long story. I've not seen him since.
God bless Andy Ruffle, wherever he is. He blazed a trail, didn't he?
Yeah, he was down in Harrow, I think, last week.
Was he?
Yeah, he was down with Ron Wilkinson, Brian Blyther, and Simon Tabron was there as well.
No way. I feel like BMX is having a bit of a renaissance, I think, with it in the Olympics, and obviously there's that girl, the British girl, that's done pretty well.
She's doing good,
because they've just opened a pump track near us, and I've just bought 4 BMXs, like second-hand, really cheap ones that I've got to fix up for me and the kids.
It will knacker you. It's trying to get around one of those. It's a bloody good workout, but fuck, does it wear you out? But,
yeah, well, that's the idea. I need to get fit for snowboarding again. I haven't given up. I've got some tricks I want to try and get back.
Oh dear.
I mean, not many, because I didn't have many in the first place, but I want those ones back. Do you know what I mean?
Your safety moves, yeah.
So, yes, come on then. Give me some history. So, you're BMXing, skating, sort of drifting away from BMXing and doing more skating, but where does snowboarding happen in all this?
Snowboarding sort of happened when I used to go skate a very bizarre mini ramp in a shop called Round Ocean in Doncaster.
Right.
Owned by Dean Strapini. I think I spelled his name out.
Yeah, that name's popped up a few times, actually.
Yeah, so I used to hang around in the back of that, and it was like a windsurfing shop as well. So, but then he started making some of these homemade snowboards, and I saw one, and I went, it just totally appealed to me, and I just went, right, got to have a go at that. Couldn't be arsed making one. And I think it was about a year later, when he was skating, he said that they'd been putting a little hang tow bar up on Castleton near Blue John Caverns.
Right.
In Castleton. So we all thought we'd pop up there and have a look at it and see what it was like. So I think we used to phone up the guy from the Blue John Caverns shop and ask him to go outside and see how much snow was there. He come back and said it was anything over 3 or 4 inches. We were up there.
You were in.
Yeah, but Dean pretty much got me into it from then.
Yeah.
And then I remember buying a board from Blacks, I think. It was a Burton Elite 150.
Right.
Swallowtail with a metal fin at the back of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's now, but it was shit back then. And I never used it for about a year because we had no fucking snow there. So
yeah.
And then one time I think it snowed up on Saddleworth Moor, and me and my mates went up there and just had a go at it, and it was literally just going in a straight line, but just going in a straight line on it.
Yeah.
It felt brilliant. Just the silence and if you fell over, you're like, my God, that didn't hurt. Every time I usually fall over on something, either a bike or a skateboard, it's a slam. So I came back and I can't remember, I had a good job with my dad at the time. I was like steel erecting and steeplejack work. So I had a bit of money. And we went into Leeds and I saw a Hooga Booga Featherlight, I think it was.
Yep.
Bought that. And then in the January that came along after that, I got a ticket to Obergurgl, like a flight out there.
Yeah.
Got a hotel on my own. I thought I'd just hike up and down the mountain, just at the slopes and try and teach myself to snowboard.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I was just basically rolling down constantly. It's hard boots as well that I had on them as well.
Although I'm guessing with a Hooga Booga, it would have been like some of those pink Koflak.
Yeah, that's the ones.
Damien Sanders type
That's
ones.
exactly the ones.
Oh man, I wanted a pair of those so bad when I first saw them.
I remember being out there and there's no one else snowboarding, no, just me. And 2 Americans came up to me and went, "Fuck man, what are you doing? Get a day ticket on the gondola to the top and it'll be a lot better." So I said, all right, I'll come up with you. So I went up thinking they were going to give me some tips on how to get down. And as soon as I got off the gondola at the top, they just like gone. And I was like, but luckily it works because by the time I got down, all the way to the bottom, it took me pretty much most of the day.
Yeah.
It clicked. And when it clicks, when it clicks, it's like, I can link a turn, turn. And then all you want to do is just go faster and faster. And then straight away, you're just looking for little hits and jumping. So that was and when I came back from that, I literally was hooked. And I think I bought another board from Split Skates in Manchester, Sims Blade. And I think that's what I did my first comp on, because we went to a dry slope. No, it wasn't a dry slope, it was the one that everyone was on about, the Sun Challenge, the Scottish one.
Yeah, of course.
I'm thinking that's right, in Nevis Range. What was that, Glen Sheedy? There was one done by some rather nefarious characters that had the clan skates in Glasgow.
Right, I don't know.
I'm trying to think of their names. Jez would know who they are. But I'm sure they run the competition.
Right.
And I went up to that with my mates and the intention of entering this the championships. Got there, I think that's when I first met all the people I ended up living with, like your Gus Gillards, your Tony Browns, Darren Williamson, Steve Crampton, Alistair Fleming and stuff.
All legends.
Yeah. So we were there, but we never really talked, and we never stayed for the end of the comp when it all got messy. We had to leave.
Yeah.
But again, we got the book for it, and I think the next comp was at Stoke, and it was a dry slope comp, so we went down to that. I went down there with my girlfriend, and I went on the slope to practice, and told my girlfriend to just go, get some beers and hang out and see what the plan is.
Yeah.
By the time I got down, she was surrounded by Gus Gillard, Darren Williamson, everyone trying to chat her up. I was like, what the fuck? And then Stuart Duncan was there with him as well.
Oh,
and then
good.
when me and Stuart looked at each other and went, oh, I remember you from BMXB. Because I was on BMXB as well.
Yeah.
So we knew each other sort of from, not met, but of each other from the BMX days. And I think I met John Green there as well. But that was the time we just started doing all right. And after the comp, that's when I got approached by Ian Felton to do the Santa Cruz stuff. So that's sort of the beginning of that. But it's a quick, brief run through my...
Yeah, I mean, certainly my earliest memories of you, I mean, I didn't know anything about anything until I saw the first issue of Snowboard UK. And I think there might have been a couple of mentions in like some ski mags before that. I was just like trying to find anything I could find, like any picture of a snowboarder. That was it. I'd look at it for hours.
Yeah.
And like, you know, and the first, you know, obviously became aware of you in issue 1 of Snowboard UK, and it was you were, you know, on Chaos, on Santa Cruz. You know, I was just like, I want one of those. I want a Santa Cruz towel. That is never got one, but that was like, that's the shit right there. Like, you know, and that's what my entry point into snowboarding, that's what it looked like. And you guys were like at the forefront of it. Like, I didn't know any of the history of you guys at all, but it was just like, you are where it's at in snowboarding in the UK. And I was just like, you look fucking great. You seem to have a sense of humour about you. You seem to like, want to go partying. This is like everything I want out of life.
Well, that's been one of the problems, trying to remember a lot of the stuff, because they were quite heavy days and the early days. But I remember you're talking to Eddie about the first snowboard mag with the no grab air off Corrigal.
Corrigal, yeah. He lives not far from me, actually.
But I remember that, and going, and Eddie going on about that. Oh, you were going to get that front cover and stuff. And I went, it would have been good to have the first front cover of a snowboard magazine, a British one.
Yeah.
And I thought about it. I went, well, I already have. I had it.
Go on.
It was the snowboard magazine that came out with skateboard magazine.
Yeah.
I've got it here.
Yes, you've got it. Right, hang on. I'm going to have to take a picture for the listeners.
So I was the first on the magazine cover.
No, but I mean that picture, you know, obviously it's a classic blue sky, snow coming off the back of your board. You're doing a method. I mean, that is... It's
a suitcase there, that, mate. It's absolutely shocking.
Proper suitcase, isn't it? But, do you know what I mean? At the time, it's just like, that's someone who's fucking going after it. And where do I sign up for that? Do you know?
Yeah. I remember Sang Tang took that photograph, and I remember us just hiking up and just seeing this like winglet drop and just going, I just want to hit that as fast as I can.
Yeah. And
just sailing in the air, it's just, I think we were there for the Kebra Classic. I think it was the first comp I got sent out to do.
Yeah.
Which was horrendous. I don't think we did very well that first time seeing a half pipe.
But what was like the early days of being a sponsored rider? Because I mean, you were sort of the first. I mean, from where I could see, you were obviously pretty gnarly. You know, you seemed to be chasing it pretty hard, and obviously, what did that look like in terms of sort of being a sponsored rider and what was expected of you and that sort of? Was there much kind of, I don't know, like much support or much kind of, this is what you're going to be, this is what we want you to do, or is it just like literally we're going to give you some stuff, just go do what you do?
It was more go do what I was lucky because I had Ian Felton that sort of sponsored me, and he kind of likes my attitude. He just wanted me to just be the silly fucker that I was. I mean, I'd get hurt quite a lot and smash myself up, but I'd just get up and do it again because you had the buzz. You didn't want to stop doing it. Yeah. And he wanted to sort of push that more. He just says, just carry on being you. So I didn't have pressure of, you've got to get in the magazine. I never won any comps. If you go through them all, I never actually won any. Lots of seconds, thirds, but he wasn't bothered about that. He says, you do better just being you, because you get pictures, or or it's a video or whatever, or you do demos and stuff. So he was happy with that. So the days of riding for Ian Felton, there was not really any pressure on that in the early days. I don't think there was a lot on any of us. They just wanted us to get out and get people snowboarding.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looked like, kind of the DIY ethos of sort of Chaos the movie. And you're in it on a snowboard, on your skateboard and a BMX as well. It's just like, you sort of seem to epitomise the whole sort of action sports thing at the time. Do you know what I mean? And you were like, even with your nickname, sort of Bloody Smith, it's like you're going to go and get it regardless of like what the cost is. Do you know what I mean?
I got that name for two reasons. One, because most people had opened one at Snowboard magazine and it's Bloody Smith in it again. And the other one was that after a comp or a night out, I usually was bleeding from some place. But going back to doing skating, BMX and snowboarding, I think someone else was saying, you're probably the only person who knows. I think I've got a front cover on nearly all of them.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can't be a common... There can't be many people.
BMX.
All right, hold that up. I'm going to have to get another photo. Otherwise, none of this is going to make any sense. Go on. That should be... I'm glad you've sort of done your homework and come prepared.
Well, I had to, otherwise I won't be able to bloody remember half the shit.
Have you been like looking through old mags trying to trying to spark some memories?
It's brought so many memories back.
Well, that's good. That's part of the point of this thing.
The snowboarding one.
Yeah, that's a great board as well. Do you know what I mean? Like
I love that board. That was taken 20 minutes before I then snapped my spine.
Yeah, well, that's something we're going to get onto as well, because it turns out me and you have got we're both part of the Metal in Your Back Club.
Ah, yes.
So come on then, tell me. So, no, actually, let's get a bit more about your sort of career before you broke your back. Obviously, there would be sort of the Chaos the movie. There was definitely that board test in Hintertux that some of it appeared in Chaos the movie. Tell us, just give us a highlight of those times.
Chaos the movie, that was interesting filming that. I mean, I think Ian went through bits of it, but it was that was in Val d'Isere with I can't remember the name of the camera guy, but it was bloody hard work. He was more into the skiing side of it.
Yeah.
But having carting all that stuff out, I remember us driving out there we had to make a kicker ramp for the skateboards and all the plywood so they could put it on the slope.
So just for the listeners who haven't heard, and actually you can watch Chaos the movie on our YouTube channel. It's on there. Basically, it looks like there's sort of... I know exactly where that spot is because I did a season in Val d'Isere, probably the year or 2 years after you were there. And it's sort of a bit like someone's back garden, isn't it, essentially? That's got sort of at the bottom of the mountain and it's got like a sort of rock in it and you've built a kicker up on that. Then you've got a plywood in run for skaters and BMXs who everyone's landing in the snow, and then there's a little sort of quarter hip thing as well. So at one point there's 4 people sort of sending it off this variety of kickers.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I think that variety of kicker thing, I think we really want to have one of those, but failing badly, that, with Search for Animal Chin moments, where they've got someone sitting the ramp and they all go together. So, and that's what the director wanted, but we didn't quite get that. It was more of a splat.
No, but it did really, it really exemplified the sort of DIY nature that I think kind of sums up the whole British, I think that runs through from the very start, even to like Mia Brooks now, like her and her family living in a living in a van in Lax for, whatever many years just so that they could afford for her to be there. Do you know what I mean? That whole DIY attitude has run through the whole thing. I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think that is the British scene. Is if there's a way, you'll do it, and no holds barred. I sometimes regret in my early days that I didn't do a season. I mean,
did you not live up in Aviemore or in Scotland somewhere? Well, that's a season then, isn't it? Sort of.
Compared to France, it's a very short season.
Well, yeah. I mean, I understand that. But do you know what? Actually, when I was up there in February with Jez, I had to keep reminding myself that I wasn't in Bourg-Saint-Maurice in France. Like, it felt really similar. Had such a similar vibe about it. And I could easily see how, if it had more consistent snow, you could easily go and base yourself there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when we had snow, Aviemore as the town centre was just, all the Aberdeen lot used to just come round over to us for the weekend, and that was it. We'd go riding, hiking, drinking, party. And it was a good party town, was Aviemore.
Yeah.
But everybody used to say, why don't you go and do, I think I went to Chamonix once for 3 weeks, and I got very homesick. Just wanted to be back in Scotland. I think it was out there with Justin Allison and a few of the others.
Oh, right, yeah.
I didn't mind it. It was good. I do like the big mountains, but there's something about Scotland that if you can ride there, you can ride pretty much anywhere because the weather's horrendous and the conditions can change within an instant. But,
yeah, it's got a sort of slightly Wild West feel about it. I do appreciate that seasons aren't for everyone. I remember Matt and Andy Davis, amazing dry slope riders. They tried to do a season. It just didn't really work for them. I don't know. I think you've got to have that. You've got to, it's a lifestyle thing that you've also got to sort of buy into. And if you're living in Scotland, you've essentially got the elements of that.
Yeah.
And it's possibly a bit easier because the language is the same.
Yeah, I think
if you haven't got that wanderlust to be in another country, which I really had, I wanted to be somewhere far away. Do you know what I mean? I didn't like where I grew up, and I wanted to, be as far away from that as possible. And mountains, the mountains really drew me in. But it's not for everyone, and I can certainly see how, Scotland would be an ideal choice, really.
Yeah, but I liked it up there, and I felt comfortable there. And when you're comfortable somewhere. Summer times was actually better than winter sometimes, I'd be out climbing, skating, BMX on the lakes and stuff. So you had everything on your doorstep.
Yeah.
So, and then if we wanted to go, it was a bit more of a hike because we'd end up going down to bloody Dover. So you do half the trip there, then drive out to Austria, and it's like twice the distance.
Yeah, that is a.
But we did it.
Yeah, I'm sure you did it enough times.
Like I say, most of the Brits was always a drive out there, but that used to be interesting. But I'm trying to think of 91 wanted the Brits in Scotland.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. But like I say, that was one of those rarities where they had blue sky and sort of half pipe. And because it had snowed, no one wanted to ride it. They all wanted to go up on Headball and get some powder turns in, which is fair play to him, but I was sat there with a fucking shovel digging.
Yeah, you got known for sort of digging the pipe, didn't you, as well? There was the one that ended up in Val d'Isère, and I remember you putting in some time.
I have a weird sort of lust for digging. I dig mountain bike trails as well, and I'm never happier when I've got a shovel in my hands. Very rare.
Because there was one year at Capron at the board test where you built this sort of hip thing, and then I think you carved a face on it.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was sick.
Didn't we have a competition on that? I think we won and McKenna won, and we spent it all on tequila in that bar. That ended up with the fountain outside. That ended up in foam everywhere.
The foaming fountain will never cease to make me piss myself laughing. I love a fountain with loads of foam in it.
And I think we got kicked out of our hotel from that as well, because Webster came in at the middle of the night with a fire extinguisher, emptied it all over me and Rothwell, We didn't think anything of it. Went up the hill. When we came back down, there's two policemen sat there at the reception waiting for us with our suitcases and going, "Yeah, you're not staying there." And I started arguing. I just remember when a cop was putting his hand on his holster, I went, "What the fuck?" I said, "What even us?" Webster sat outside with the beer just laughing at us. It's like, let's find another hotel. That was the same night. All sorts of shit happened.
Man, Capron and like the board tests were pretty loose, weren't they? But that felt like the sort of end of season kind of let off. You know, you have the Brits, but the Brits was, you know, the Brits could be loose, but there was also that element of competition. And I think by that point you had sort of people maybe taking it a bit serious. You know, they could see that there might be something in it for them and sort of taking it a bit seriously. Whereas the board test was, you know, this is the let off for the whole scene. You know, like this is the end of season party, basically. Yeah,
it was. It was the release. Used to have a football match as well at the end of that, which was always.
Yeah, I never went anywhere near that. I was always too busy nicking bikes and smashing myself up and stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, let's get into because you sort of famously fucked your back and had metal in it, and then you sort of went about fucking the metal up in your fucked back. Tell me a bit about that, because I can just for context. So I prolapsed 3 discs in my back, partly lifestyle, partly a degenerative thing, and partly snowboarding. And so I've got 2 rods and 6 screws holding 3 vertebrae apart, basically, in my lower back.
Same as mine, I think, Matt. Yeah.
Right, okay. So tell me about yours then.
Mine started with an injury just before, some time before. A stupid idea after watching Rambo First Blood.
I wasn't expecting Rambo to pop up in this conversation.
There's that scene where he jumps off the cliff into the trees and the tree breaks his fall and then he sits there and stitches himself up. But we decided to do it off a viaduct bridge.
Oh my God.
It runs across Pontefract. I'm surprised Jez didn't show you that one. And I jumped off it, hit the trees, broke my fall, went up to tell my mates, "Go on, have a go, it's ace." And they sort of looked at me, "Well, no, I'm not doing it." So I said, "I'll do it again." So I jumped, but in the same place. There was no branches there. So I just hit the bottom.
Shit.
Legs apart. My head went between my legs, fractured my skull here, and did something bad to my back.
Yeah.
I ended up losing movement for some like spasms.
Yeah.
And didn't think any of it. Had some physio, but still didn't do anything. Finally, I had an X-ray and they said, "Oh, you've crushed your vertebra and done some other damage." So I went, "Oh, shit." But then when I went to Teen and tried to do that stupid bloody gap across the crevasse thing right at the top of the lift.
Yeah.
I remember hiking up and the snow seemed all right. And then setting off and I was listening to Jesus Built My Hot Rod by Ministry. I had it on a loop in my tape. And it's just getting to that real good cranky point just as I was going towards where the lift was and height.
Yeah.
I just remember it was like sort of when it was in the shade where I was, and then just where the lip was, the sun had just got on it. And as soon as I hit it, it just felt that suck.
Yeah.
And also, as I left the lip, I realised I'd gone off at the wrong angle. So everyone who was stood over there waiting for me to sort of land over this side, I just went down the crevasse and I hit the wall on the other side and just...
Shit.
My knees went under my rib cage and popped my sternum. I dislocated something here.
Yeah.
I heard my back go when I landed. It was like an explosion in the back of it.
Yeah.
I could move, but I wasn't really much pain at the time, but then it did start to get bad. I didn't have any insurance, so
right, obviously.
Webster had to whiz down the mountain to get me a Cartnage or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Dragged off the mountain. I can't remember where he went to. On the helicopter, I remember getting helicoptered down, getting there, and while I was sat on the place where they're examining me, I could still hear Jesus built my hot rod because they hadn't turned me Walkman off. Just sort of sat there going on and on. But then when they x-rayed, I'd exploded a vertebra and just shattered in bits.
Right. Jesus.
And then other two were crushed, done something to the disc, and they've bolted it with titanium rods, and they put like pressure on them, don't they? So pounds of pressure.
Yeah.
To keep you upright. So I was stuck in hospital for about 3 weeks.
No way.
And then when I got out, I thought that was in November '93.
Right.
And then I started riding again in around May, April. I'm really good. Typically, I had a fucking brilliant season. I think Cardiel and that lot came up, and Mike Banquick came over that '94. I think he was. They came over there.
So that was when you were on Lamar and Bonfire, I guess.
That's it. Yeah, and I'd started riding again, and then I think after a year, there was some sort of pain in my back. It's whenever I got into spinning. So, you pre-wind and you just pulling at your back. And then when I had another x-ray, they said, well, you've snapped both your rods. Both of them are just, so whether like that, they're both like that.
No way.
And they've been in there like that ever since. But I did go to have a look and be moved, but the amount of hassle it is, I just think, well, I get a bit of back pain. I just manage my diet and health just to keep that away. I'm a big fan of just shitloads of raw turmeric, ginger and apple juice, and that just keeps me going.
Oh man, you'd have to send me a recipe for that. I mean, I do all right. I don't really have any problems. But yeah, that sort of keeping an eye on, I mean, my surgeon said to me, drink, and this goes out to anyone with back pain, drink a glass of water before you go to sleep, not in the evening, or it doesn't matter how much you drink during the day. It's about literally the last thing you do before you close your eyes is drink a ton of water.
I do say that I have,
because your discs only take on your discs only take on fluid or whatever when you're asleep. And
it makes sense.
And don't get fat, or sort of try not to. And just sort of like look after yourself, do some stretching. Like you're in credit with your body, and you got to start paying it back. Yeah,
it's annoying when you sit there and you watch McNabb all the time doing all these poses. When we're doing all snowboard camps with him, he tries all to get into yoga. We're all just sat there chuckling. But no, it works. I mean, you look at Neil and anyone else. My other mate Rothwell, who's my snowboarding partner in crime, whenever I go away, he swears by it. I keep saying I'll do it, but it's supposed to be building foot. Just keeping that core strength going will make your back so much better.
Yeah, 100%.
And McKenna's always asking me to do it as well. So they're all advocates of yoga.
Yeah, I think, well, as you you went at it pretty hard. I mean, I didn't, I'm never at the sort of, I didn't chase it as hard as a lot of people, but I've had a lot of good times on a snowboard, and you realise that your body's served you well for quite a long time. You got to actually start looking after it as you sort of get a bit older, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, mine's absolutely battered. I mean, so I broke my back twice, both collarbones, a shin, a fracture dislocation of my ankle, which wasn't pretty.
Jesus.
I thought my shoe would come off until I went to put it back on and realised my foot was in it.
Oh my God.
That was really trying at a later age trying to learn backflips on a BMX and just get it completely fucking wrong.
Speaking of backflips, you were also kind of known for backflips, weren't you? I remember do you remember was it the Solero thing on Blackpool Beach?
Blackpool. Is that Blackpool Pleasure Beach one?
That was Blackpool Pleasure Beach, and we were there for, I think we were in Blackpool for about 24 hours, and it was the weirdest 24 hours of my entire life.
You didn't come to that jazz club with us, did you?
I remember at one point there was Russ Ward dancing with his top off to Relight My Fire by Take That in some club that had sort of different themed areas. And I was just like, at this point, like we'd been drinking since we got on the train at Charing Cross in London. And this was then like 2 a.m. And I just remember thinking, I haven't got a fucking clue what's going on. And then like the next morning, an 8 o'clock shout to go and ride this sort of half dry slope with a bit of snow on it. To get in the fucking drizzle on Blackpool Beach. Just odd times. But I remember, going back to the backflip thing, I think you just shaped the jump so you could do a backflip on it.
Yeah.
And then you did one backflip and then fucked it off. Yeah. And then everyone else was like, should we cut the jump down a bit so we can try some 360s?
Yeah. I was a bastard for that. Why do you think
but you would have gone a shovel
myself?
Well, you would go.
This is my hit.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember everyone thinking, oh, fucking Smithy's just built another jump that he can backflip on, and he's got a massive fucking tombstone on the end just so he can go upside down.
Yes, I'll give you that one. Yeah.
I mean, that's when I tell people that I've ridden my snowboard on Blackpool Beach, that always gets what the fuck are you talking about?
I actually saw that. I was going through my thing and I saw one of the shots of that.
And also, I think I ended up with your fish paw gloves as well.
Did you?
I think so.
Well, the gloves are mitts. Mitts, yeah. They were damn fine mitts, those things. They're all like paddles for when you span because they're like wide and fat. You could just scoop air and spin faster.
Yeah. But, so, I mean, at the time, you were then on... You went from Santa Cruz and Chaos to Lamar and Bonfire. I mean, that felt like sort of things were changing, sort of there seemed to be like more, not necessarily money, but like it felt like things weren't shit anymore. Like the boards were getting really good. The outerwear was really good. It was obviously the whole thing was growing.
I think that's when it was at its height of like, you realise this is going somewhere. This sport. And there's loads of brands just started coming out, didn't there? There's just set up. But you're right. Yeah, the clothing was good. Bonfire. I mean, that was with Webster. Webster set all that up, and also he had the freeride clothing that he was doing. Yeah. But yeah, the Lamar boards. Like I say, that Ranquick board was one of my favourites. I loved that board. With a guitar on it. But then. There's something about it. All the ski shows were really good at them as well. We used to go down to Earl's Court and stuff. And we used to work on. Well, that's later when we were working for Jez, wasn't it? On the.
Yeah, I did a few 10-day stints on the TSA stand.
But
I mean, those things in themselves. I mean, because you seem to go from sort of. I mean, from what it looked like to me, kind of like a pro rider. You seem to have sort of based your life around snowboarding, and then you sort of drift. Well, I don't know if you drifted into working at the TSA, but you then went and worked for the TSA for a while, didn't you? Or is that right? I don't know.
No, I was. I'd ended up the shop where I lived in Aviemore, which Brian Stark had, which was Boardwise. I was working for Boardwise at the time, and also with Doug and everyone, Foden. Because the weird thing is that a lot of the riders. We're also really good mates with a lot of the shop owners. I mean, the shop owners are like one of the major people that used to get you out to places and get you doing stuff and flow the gear to you.
Oh, at the time, the shop owners were the people making the scene. That was so important.
Yeah. So, apart from the shop we had, the famous one in Aviemore was the Boardwise, which is above Chevy's Bar. Yeah, which had the half pipe at the back, volleyball at the front. We had the bar down below, and I lived literally above it. And so I didn't have to go very far for anything that I needed. But they shut that down when I was down in Birmingham doing a shop out for Doug Foden, the Boardwise shop.
Right.
So I ended up stuck in Birmingham for 10 years.
Jesus, that is a long time.
And so while I was there, I ended up building a skate park, but that's when I bust my ankle and I couldn't work. The skate park shut, and Jez just went, come and work for me. I know Jez. I used to live with him in Abbeymoor for a while, and he's been like, again, another one of those saviours who's like every rider.
Yeah.
He's sorted you. So I started with them. I kind of quite liked it, just helping him doing the buying, going around seeing stuff, but he still got to do a lot of snowboarding. And when you do a ski show in those early days, they were fun. I mean, God, once the day shift had finished, it went off for the night.
Oh, don't get me. I mean, it was like entering a different portal for 10 days, and you were just. The days were a bit, like the weekdays were a bit slow because there wasn't many people in.
Yeah.
But then, like there's a pub across the road that everybody goes to afterwards. Yeah. It's quite easy, isn't it? It's an easy thing to do.
I mean, Steve Bailey used to just sneak off all the time while you look up there going for a cigarette or a pint of Guinness just round the corner. You just see Jez going, where the fuck have they gone?
Speaking of Guinness, I'm having one in honour of you at the moment.
I've just finished, man. Literally, I've got the pub next door to me. I actually caught the bar staff and bring me one round.
You should do.
But
so you sort of went to work for I mean, from where I was sort of stood, that seemed like, well, that's what you do if you're into snowboarding and, like you need a job, go and work in a snowboard shop.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I think just about everybody's worked with Jez. I also, at the time, I think I changed my sponsorship at the time then as well. I got stuff off TSA, but Andy Darby, who's been a brilliant friend of mine for most of the time.
Shout out, Andy.
He kind of became my manager. And
right.
he started finding me sponsorship. He's the one who got me Kahuna watches, which is...
Right.
But he also got me the Oxbow thing. And I sort of went... I'm not really kind of an Oxbow guy.
No.
But I always remember, because Ed Lee got an Oxbow at the same time as me as well. It's like there's two unlikely characters to ride for a rather flowery jumper.
I didn't know Ed was on Oxbow, and he certainly didn't mention that when I was chatting to him about this.
I've got a picture of it. Do you want to see it?
Go on. So, Si's just gone off to find this picture.
In FHM.
Hold on. Hold it still.
Can you see with this tank top?
Oh, yeah, on the left.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thing is, it's all fair play, isn't it? Because, there was money knocking about and, sort of these brands wanted, British riders who seem to be pretty cool. And it's like, well, why wouldn't... Like, at the time... I was certainly guilty of it being like, oh, that's not a cool brand or whatever, but fuck it, man. Like, if they're paying the money, that's where you got to go, isn't it?
Yeah, I never actually got a check from them.
Really?
No, never. And then I got one from Oxbow and went, I'm buying a motorbike. Just like, and Kahuna watches.
Yeah.
But the downside of Kahuna watch, I had to go and do what's that? Shopping site. Everybody sits there and talks about the products.
Well, a shopping channel.
It was a shopping channel. It was one. Yeah, I had to go on that one. So I had to go all the way down to London.
I can't imagine you doing that.
Power station. I just sat there going, "What have I become?"
Yeah, it was at Battersea, wasn't it? The shopping channel, QVC. Yeah. Is it QVC?
That's it. QVC. Sat there talking about how good this watch is.
Yeah.
How can you milk something? It's basically an animal rip-off.
Animal did all right out of watch straps, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
God bless them.
No, so, I was riding for Oxbow then, working with Jez. Got more into the industry side, which I actually did love. You still got to travel as much. And
yeah.
The riding was still good. You'd get out and ride. We ended up doing all the TFA catalogues with Steve Bailey as well, which Steve's brilliant to ride with. But
I know. I did a season with him.
Yeah.
Or did I do 2 seasons? Did 2 seasons with him, actually.
He's he's good at pushing you. I was a lot older, but...
Yeah, he makes it look easy, so you think, I'm going to go and have a crack at that as well.
Until you land, you realise that you haven't got legs like him, and you just crumple.
No, he's a cat.
Yeah.
That boy is a cat. But so there's a couple of, I mean, obviously, like where snowboarding is for you now. But I did want to, I posted a picture on Instagram last winter. It's a double page out of Snowboard UK, and it looks like you're doing some sort of tuck knee on a quarter. It's a black and white shot. You got your top off. I have got it round here somewhere. It's up on the shelf. But you'll know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah,
and it's the. I think I put the caption on it like, this is entirely UK snowboarding. This is like the epitome of UK snowboarding. And I think you really think your contribution to snowboarding in general was entirely that. It's got like aggression, it's got style, you know, it's got this fuck you about it. And I think your legacy, that sounds so bad, isn't it? But like your contribution has been like, you helped direct a sport so much in like your aesthetic of the way you approached snowboarding. Do you know what I mean? You're out on the snow, but you got your top off. I mean, no one wants to fall on snow with a fucking top off, because it's, why would you do that? But you're there, you look fucking aggressive, you know, like you're tweaking as hard as possible. And it's a great shot, and it just captures so much emotion and action and everything. And that's what I said about it. It was like when I posted about it, because I was just like, this is fucking awesome. I'd totally forgotten about that photo. When I saw it, I was like, this is it. This is exactly it.
It's my favourite. Most people sort of say, oh, it's going upside down and flipping and stuff. It's, you know, that was one of my favourites. I remember it's Paul Duffy took that one.
That's right.
He was another good photographer. Couldn't snowboard for shit, like, so he stopped dragging around the mountain. But I remember that was in Chamonix.
Yeah.
It is one of my favourite photographs. I think Spearing used to like that one as well. I'm sure it was in another magazine that we put it in. Can't remember which one it was. But yeah, I did like that. But thank you for saying that. It's quite humbling.
Well, there wasn't anybody else making it look like you were making it at the time as well.
Yeah,
and there wasn't like a precedent, so it wasn't like, oh, this sport looks like this or it looks like that. It felt like a really individual take on something, and it's just got like everything in one shot, and it's entirely you as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, nobody else snowboarding at that time made snowboarding look like that.
I think around that time, a lot of riders and stuff, everyone had their sort of own individual style. There was no, this is how you snowboard.
No.
That didn't exist then. It was like, as soon as you could turn, I mean, I literally couldn't turn very well. You asked Gilbert now about what following me down the mountain. He says, you are the ugliest man on the floor when you're riding. He said, but when you're in the air, it all sort of comes together, but then you land and you look ugly again. Well, yeah. He says, you look, and I skate the same, it looks like I'm about to fall off at any moment.
Yeah.
But I think that's because I was rushing to get in the air. I wasn't that bothered about how nice I looked turning.
Yeah.
And I think that gave a lot of riders, they all have their style. You look at Bailey, you look at Danny and stuff like that. They can turn and they're quite thin, but they all had their own style when they're in the air. And you can tell it from the shot. Even if it's from the distance, you go, oh, that's Danny, that's Steve.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, so, but nowadays I always blame Daisy. I'm not a big fan of it. Everyone else, and I used to have this argument with McNabb as well. It's like making everybody ride exactly the same. It's the same sort of formula. There's no formula to snowboarding. It's just follow gravity. You will get your own rhythm and your own, as long as you can link turns and be safe, obviously. Yeah. But everybody seems to have this aspect on. it wasn't learning to turn first back in our day. It was learning to get to the jump and then see what happens. I mean, I know lots of mates that just didn't even turn. We used to make little troughs so you didn't have to turn. It just guided you for the kicker.
So tell me about snowboarding now for you. Like, are you still getting amongst it?
Yeah, I went up to the Brits when they had them up in Aviemore last time.
Yeah.
I thought I had to go up that. I was all right, that, if there's about an over 50s category, but they stuck us in with all 40-year-olds. So I'm up against Tim Warwood and all the people we used to teach.
Yeah, well, I mean, even if you put a 50s in now, there's going to be increasingly numbers hitting that one.
It was one of the biggest. There was hardly any 18-year-olds. They're all over 40s.
Yeah.
There's just stacks of it. But I did that, and it was good. I enjoyed it. I didn't do kickers because I just don't bounce anymore. There's zero give in my body. I've got a split board.
Have you?
Des has managed to. I wanted to hate it. I really wanted to split boarding. And then me and Rothwell went up there with the intention of slagging it off when we went to up battle.
Yeah.
And then just looked at each other and went, fucking hell, this is a lot easier to get up a mountain if you want to get to a spot rather than just hiking and trogging through all the snow. So, and then when you put them together, they actually do work. You know, they're not.
I've heard people like, you know, sort of slating them that when they're together and you're riding down, it's like riding a piece of shit. But it's like, well, to be fair, it's a tool that does a thing. And still the sensation, you know, like if you're hiking, I mean, I've done a little bit as well. You know, you're hopefully going to places where the snow's pretty good. And to be honest, if the snow's pretty good, then you could ride a fucking scaffold board and it's still going to be fun,
That's
right?
it, yeah. Purely just get to those bits of powder that no one else has got to. So
exactly that. There's a joy to it, isn't there? As well. There's
it's the
just getting away from people and the silence, the quiet of it.
I was in Maribel last year. I went with friends and some of the skiers, and they were all going down the room. It was an overcast day, and I just went into woods on mine and just yomped up, and it was beautiful. It was just on my own, no one there, no one whizzing past you.
Yeah.
Got to the top, went through clouds, so it was like blue sky, got into powder, and then just rode down. And it took me all day for one run, but worth every moment. So, you know, earn your turn sort of thing. Because if you're just on a gondola sat there, loads of sweaty people, and then they all get out at the top, and they all follow in a train of people going down, looking behind, because the slopes are so busy. I can't be doing with slopes. I just have to be off-piste. So anywhere I go, I have to literally go off on my own.
Yeah.
Well, that's like I say. Usually Rothwell would come with me, but he has the same the attitude as me, with like just threading the needle, just getting the trees and where the powder is.
Yeah.
Very rare I go on a piste, and nowhere near a park.
No, fair enough. Yeah, I still want to. I haven't really got any shots of me actually in the air doing anything good. I'm still like hoping that I can get something at some point. So yeah, I know what you mean, but I still have this sort of desire to go in the park and at least get some airtime. But
I'll be intrigued to see if I can still do a backflip. I might try that. I'm away in January, so
yeah, where you going?
I might give it a go. If I do it, cook my own kicker, I'll probably get
exactly.
It.
Put a massive 1 foot fucking lump of vert on the end of it.
There's no other way. That's it. You just get forced to do one.
You're already a quarter of the way before you've even taken off. So, you know, kind of. So part of the podcast is, you know, sort of obviously looking back and reflecting on what snowboarding means to you. And I want to ask you about that, you know, sort of how snowboarding shaped your life and what it means to you. But sort of, you know, I also want to know what, you know, sort of snowboarding looking forward looks like to you, and why other people should, you know, like if you met someone who's never been or hadn't been for a long time and thinking, oh, you know, I really miss it, you know, maybe I should go again. Sort of, let's go first with what you would say to someone who hasn't been before or hasn't been for a long time and's thinking about going. What would What would your view be on to
I
them?
actually had this conversation the other night with a couple of guys in the pub that they all wanting to go out on a holiday, and I can't remember, we were just talking about snowboarding, and I didn't mention it, and they said, yeah, but it's cold, it's this, and I just went, the beauty of snowboarding is once you've got the turns on just in the mountains, just being in the mountains, you actually feel a lot freer. It's a lot more space. And when you've learned to snowboard and you link those first, there's nothing better than when you first link those. When I used to teach, you'd see it on their faces when it clicks. You'll always remember that moment, and you'll want to do it again, and you'll want to do it again. Yeah, we do fall out of love with it if you do it too often and you have injuries and stuff like that. But if you haven't done it for a while and then you just get back on it, the grin comes back instantly. No one can say, yeah, I realise why I stopped doing it because it's shit. You won't. You'll literally just go, you'll feel that grin come back on you. You go, yeah, this is what I like. So I find it very easy to talk people into going snowboarding, because if you put your passion into it, and one of the guys would say, well, it's not warm, it's not hot, it's cold. I went, you don't feel the cold half the time. You know, you're working up so much energy, and it's the last thing that's on your mind is the weather.
Yeah.
Unless it's shitting it down with snow and you can't see, but even then it's good.
Yeah.
So I don't, yeah. So it was just one of those things that as soon as you've tried it, or just been in the mountains, you get a grin, and it's the grin that keeps me going back to it.
Yeah.
And just the space.
Yeah. And then sort of tell me, you know, kind of what snowboarding has meant to your life.
It totally changed mine, because I had quite a good career with working with my father. I was down in London building skyscrapers and everything, and still I was on good money, and I just quit it to move to the mountains and go snowboarding. And he goes, oh, don't you miss the money? And I went, no, I didn't. This took me on a whole different path.
Yeah.
That I would never really regret at all. The people you've met, the people you've seen, things. I mean, I've had loads of injuries, but it shapes you in a lot of different ways, rather than being a 9 to 5 or.
Yeah.
You know, I've got friends who've paid the mortgages off and stuff because they're stuck with the same job all year and they're financially sound. I'm not financially sound. I don't have a pension or a mortgage, but I'd never give up what I did.
Yeah.
With snowboarding, to have some of that. I mean, you know, those memories will always go with you. I mean, I've got friends now who have just retired. They've never snowboard, but they've worked all their lives, and now they're getting out to doing it. But they're all battered and old, so they can't enjoy it as much.
No, that's no way to go, is it?
Yeah. So I think I've got the shitty end of life is easy to sit down and relax and just snowboard when I want to. I don't think I'd ever stop. I mean, I just got another BMX, so I'm going to try and get back on one of them.
Is that what's behind you in the? Is that
I got that off my friend for my birthday. It's a Diamondback Silver Streak.
I saw that on Facebook. I was like, man, that is a beauty.
Always wanted one, and he just went, "Here, look what I've built up for you." I went, best present ever.
How do you feel about Skyway Tough 2s?
I had them, and I broke them as well. Those things shatter when they go. We used to have Z rims as well, which were even worse.
No, I just fancy these 4 BMXs that I've bought. I fancy getting some blue Skyway Tough 2s, just because that was one of those things that, you know, obviously we couldn't afford as a kid. So now,
Skyway.
Well, you know, they look good, don't they? It's only for pump track. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to do anything radical on it. The
lighter the better on a pump track, and I can assure you.
Oh, you'll have to come down, man. It's brand new. It only opened this week.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. Don't have such joys up here. Don't even know where the nearest one is to us.
Well, you'd be very welcome to come down here. Listen, I think I think we're there.
Hope I did all right, lad. Let's say I'm new to all this, but
just what a pleasure. Like, thanks so much for doing it. I mean, you know, without trying to blow sunshine up your ass, you are an icon of the UK scene. You know, like, you just set a standard and set an aesthetic that really was so important at the time, and has helped shape, you know, like, what it's become. And, you know, like, we all owe you a fucking pint for that.
well, let's accept a pint. You're very kind.
I mean, I'll be buying you a pint the next time our paths cross. That's for sure.
Hey, we've got British Championships in marathon again, haven't we?
I know. You going?
I think so. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'm going to be there for sure.
Yeah.
That's too good to miss.
We'll have a pint there then, lad.
Well, I very much look forward to it. Thank you so much. Oh, one last. I'm going to need a tune off you for your intro. What's a tune from a snowboard movie, or?
I suppose it'd have to be Jesus Built My Hot Rod.
Jesus Built My Hot Rod.
That was also on Crusty Demons. Remember the first ones, the Americans, where they all smashed shit up.
Crusty Demons, was that? That was like the Black Flies thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. And
where it had sort of all sorts of stuff going on.
It had motorbikes on it, but it had lots of gnarly snowboarders just doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
Always had the clown in it. But Ministry, Jesus Built My Hot Rod, that was on that snowboard film. And that was also, that I always remember because of bringing me back to it. And I used to snowboard with it, a loop tape of it. In the days when we had tapes.
Okay, well, that'll be your intro song then.
Perfect.
Right, I'll let you go. It's getting late.
Yeah, I'm get last orders at the pub.
So there you go, Simon Smith, the most requested the most requested guest so far. I'm really happy to have got him on. There was a bit of, I think a couple of people thought that he might not do it, but if he wasn't fully into it, he certainly didn't show it my end. That was a fun conversation. And as I said, I didn't really know Simon that well. Kind of our paths did cross occasionally, but it's funny. You sort of feel like you know some people, but then you actually don't know their stories at all. So it was really cool to sit down with him and hear about his life in snowboarding. And as I say, we're both members of the Metal in the Back community. So good to have those tips as well. If you have got metal in your back or you have got a bad back, then go back and listen to the advice. It's what keeps me upright every day. So there's something in it for sure. In other news, what's going on? Well, Christmas, it's been dumping across the Alps. There's been 2 major storms has absolutely battered the Alps. Pictures coming in from the it just show so much snow. Early season conditions are all time. Well, I guess it's not early season anymore. It's Christmas. It's New Year week. But if you are planning a trip January, then I think conditions are going to be pretty good for you. Let's hope. I'm going out to Lax for the Open, which was a little surprise result, which I had found out about just recently. Very much looking forward to that. Had a brilliant time last year. Sadly, my good friend Patrick can't make it with me this year. He is having chemotherapy. So if you can spare a thought and send some positive vibes to the South Coast, I'm sure Patrick would appreciate that. And Patrick, if you're listening, we'll get you back on a snowboard soon enough. Don't worry, it's not going anywhere. So yeah, out to Lax in a couple of weeks. Really looking forward to that. What else is going on? The Instagram. If you're not following us on Instagram, then you want to go and check out Thank You Snowboarding podcast on Instagram. Loads and loads of new stuff and lots of old photos from White Lines magazines that I plundered while staying at Chris Moran's house. Spark some memories and create conversation and just keep the culture alive. I mean, that's what we're here for. And that's what we're doing. So, yeah, go and check out the Instagram. Quite a lot of effort goes into that. So it'd be nice if you followed along. And obviously, if you are enjoying this podcast, then some likes and some reviews and 5 stars and all that would be much, much appreciated, because we're trying to get to a few people, and if they look and see what it is, or at least their agents look, and we've got lots of kind things said, then that obviously helps those agents then put us forward to the artist or the person that we're trying to get to. That would be appreciated if you are enjoying them and you haven't left us a review yet. That could be your little Christmas gift to me. How about that? Your Christmas gift. Christmas miracles. Yeah, that'd be great. We'd much appreciate that. Up on YouTube, Nigel Birch sent me a load of old DVDs like Brush and things like that, which I am set to rip and put up on a YouTube. I put Danny Wheeler's Skyrocket up there a few weeks ago. That's been getting loads of views and likes. Yeah, we're just collating a cool channel to watch snowboarding stuff. Obviously, when you listen to Tim Warwood's interview, you could have some of the Lockdown Projects movies running in the background to give you some context. You know, it's just a place where some snowboarding movies up. Volcom's Sophia is up there now, and other bits and pieces. Side Hits Euphoria, kind of, that's a precursor to that. Just random bits and pieces. The Garden, for instance. Volcom's The Garden, I mean, it's a seminal movie. If you have never seen that, then you want to stop listening to this and go and watch that right now. That is what snowboarding is to a lot of people. Yeah, so that's the YouTube channel. What else is going on? Shout out to Lizzie and Dan from Burton for their support. Shout out to Tom Kingsnorth from Transform Gloves for his support. Shout out to Chris Carr at Canoe and Oakley for their support. Shout out to Tom at Volcom for his support too. It is with love that we make this, and with the help of the Snowboard Asylum and these other brands lending me kit to go snowboarding. Otherwise I probably wouldn't be able to, what with life and busyness and kids and etc. But yeah, I do appreciate all the support, and obviously shout out to the Snowboard Asylum who keep it real and keep this show on the road. To all the guys there, very Merry Christmas to you, and thank you for your ongoing support. It is much appreciated. I know you love this project, and I'm really happy to be making it for you. So if you need any snowboard related goods, then obviously go check them out. Go and speak to them. I know I've banged on about having foot pain for pretty much my whole snowboarding career, and how I've just done my first trip with no foot pain. That's what you get when you go and speak to the people who know, rather than just making your own decisions in your own brain based on either cost or what things look cool. I'm so guilty of choosing the thing that looks cool over the thing that works. But luckily, I now have a bit of both. And yeah, I mean, you need to try boots on to get the right size fit for you. Each boot brand makes their boots around a different shaped foot, so you need to find the brand that suits your feet. Then you will get comfy boots. I am pleased. I mean, I'm rocking Burton Photons and a set of Burton bindings, and they seem to work together really well, and they work really well for me. And I tried a whole bunch of different things on, and I used to ride 32 all the times. I tried a pair of Vans, and I tried a pair of Burtons, I tried a pair of DCs, I think, and it was the Burtons that felt the most comfortable, so that's what I went for. Not bigging them up particularly, they just happened to be the ones that suited my foot the best, and that made a massive difference on my last trip. Unbelievable. And bindings. So if you do suffer from foot pain, or you just need some advice about what you need for snowboarding, go and see our friends at the Snowboard Asylum. They will set you right every time. Their combined snowboard knowledge amongst all their staff is hundreds of years, and I'm not joking. So that's it for this week. We'll be back next week. We're in that weird bit where we don't know what days are what, so I don't know if that's early January or whenever it is. But I got a good fun guest next week who's got an interesting story and has gone on to do amazing things. That's enough of a teaser for now. I wish you all a very, very happy and peaceful and hopefully snow-laden 2025. Thank you so much for just listening and being part of this podcast. If you want to email me at all, you can. thankyouSnowboarding@gmail.com. Link in the show notes and all that business. Yeah, it is appreciated. The only reason we make this is because people want to listen to it. And as I say, it's massively appreciated. It's kind of changing a lot of things for me, and it's really, really cool. So yeah, I hope you had a great Christmas. I hope you have a great new year, whatever you do. I hope it's above all peaceful and full of love. And see you in 25. May your turns be deep and plentiful. Thank you, snowboarding. Peace.